Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the insulin dependent type 1 diabetes mellitus. So it is totally different with the type 2 diabetes mellitus because that is the insulin independent type 2 diabetes mellitus. Let's understand about the characteristic of insulin dependent type 1 diabetes mellitus. So the pancreatic beta cell being attacked by autoreactive T lymphocytes, and the complication is hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia sometimes. Its prevalence is only up to 10% of the total diabetes in worldwide, and its incidence is rising globally with the time. So remember, this insulin dependent type 1 diabetes required the exogenous insulin or insulin pump, and it is not work with the metformin too much like a type 2 diabetes. Let's understand about the physiology of insulin, what will be happen and what is the work of the insulin and why the insulin dependent type 1 diabetes will occur. This is a person which that whenever it will eat the carbohydrates, protein and fat containing diet go into the stomach and duodenum for absorption of that food, but the digestion of the protein in the stomach and the mastication will lead to bolus and bolus into chyme into the duodenum, small intestine. This is the large intestine for absorption of mineral and vitamin and nutrients, other waste, and in this way the small intestine is ileum and jejunum. So remember, this stomach is used for the totally digestion but not absorption. And duodenum is important for the digestion of protein further into amino acid and carbohydrate into the glucose and the fat into the free fatty acid and glycerol, the lipid into the glycerol. The small intestine is used for the digestion and absorption. So in this way, whenever the duodenum will allow to absorb the nutrient like the amino acid, glucose, and free fatty acid or glycerol and triacylglycerol, remember. This beta cell will trigger due to the rising of the glucose in the blood and amino acid. So especially the glucose increase more than the other nutrient. Glucose will trigger the beta cell to due to the influx of the glucose through symport or simple transfusion due to the increase of the glucose will lead to glycolysis to produce pyruvate, and the pyruvate will go into the mitochondria to Krebs cycle to produce more ATP from the electron transport chain. It is aerobic respiration, not anaerobic. So glycolysis is the anaerobic respiration. So the aerobic respiration requires the oxygen. So in this way the ATP will increase rather than the ADP will lead to inhibit the ATP sensitive potassium channel inhibited. This inhibition of the ATP sensitive potassium channel for normal charge in the cell is inside negative, outside positive, will lead to L-type calcium channel stimulated via this inhibition will lead to depolarization of the cell, and rising of the calcium in the intracellular calcium will efflux of the or exocytosis of the insulin vesicle, which that is present in the insulin producing cell beta cell in the pancreas. Islet of Langerhans contain beta cell, alpha cell and delta cell. So we are understanding the alpha cell. In this way, further on, this is basically for muscle and liver we will understand if. So this is that was the beta cell. When release the insulin in the blood, will target to the insulin receptor for moving the glucose into the cell. Like myocyte, this is it is the muscle cell, for example. Anyhow, this glucose molecule will enter through produce a GLUT4 channel, and this triggered by insulin receptor to insulin, and in this the glucose will move inside. When glucose move inside, so in this way here is a brown color show in the diagram, will lead to glycogenesis or glycolysis to produce ATP during the exercise, and the extra glycogen are present already will lead to deplete during the exercise, remember. But important to note that the growth hormone when rise during the fasting will lead to trigger the insulin growth factor 1. This insulin growth factor 1 will bind with the IGF-1 receptor in the liver hepatocyte to influx of the glucose, same mechanism in as the insulin, like insulin receptor. So the insulin and IGF-1, but the function is different. We will not understand in this video. So in this way, remember the type 1 diabetes mellitus also still working the IGF-1, but it is not enough for the normal physiology. Type 1 diabetes mellitus basically for the type 2 diabetes, this IGF-1 will work more efficiently, and in this way the insulin receptor still working normally, not normally, but it will reduce the severity. But the cause of type 1 is genetic cause, non-genetic factors. Viral infection and diet or gut biome will change when lead to cause this problem. Type 1 diabetes mellitus is an autoimmune disorder characterized by the T cell mediated destruction of the beta cell of insulin producing beta cell in pancreatic islet of Langerhans. Let's here draw the pancreatic islet of Langerhans contain three type of cell. So further research will show the fourth, but in this video we will understand three: alpha, beta and delta. The delta is responsible for the somatostatin production, while the alpha produce glucagon. So the glucagon will rise in the type 1 diabetes mellitus, but the insulin producing beta cell will produce insulin. But remember, the alpha cell will rise the glucagon production, will lead to catabolism more. In this way, the muscle mass, adipose tissue, bones will be shrink, and in this way, the weakness will occur, fatigue. Let's understand about the stages of the insulin dependent type 1 diabetes mellitus. Stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. We can categorize it. Stage 1 requires the T lymphocyte mediated insulitis. In this way, T lymphocyte will activate the more than one type of immunoglobulin antibody against the insulin will produce from the beta cell. After the activation of T cell will trigger the B cell. Stage 2 requires the dysglycemia. Stage 2 progress will lead to dysglycemia. Glucose intolerance is stage 2. In this way, the glucose intolerance will occur. So the glucose basically it is asymptomatic cause, and the symptomatic is clinical is present with symptom of hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia will lead to polyuria, more frequent urination, polydipsia, more drinking of water again and again, polyphagia, more eating habit, anuresis, and weight loss and blurred vision. This is a sign and symptom. And the diabetic ketoacidosis can occur, progress, and will lead to acidosis in the blood, will lead to pH drop, or diabetic hyperosmolar syndrome, and the susceptible tooth acquired basically EID. The other autoimmune disorder is a risk: Hashimoto's thyroiditis, celiac disease, Addison disease, and vitiligo as well as myasthenia. This all I have video. You can search with the UmerFarooqbiology. So you can search all this type of the disease. Risk factor is the age and genetic response, predisposition. Genetic predisposition mean the inversion, the point mutation or other. Environmental interact and depression, lack of healthy life, pancreatic tumor, like less sleep and pancreatic tumor. Let's understand about the pathology, the pathophysiology of beta cell. So the beta cell, again remember, present in the pancreas islet of Langerhans. So here is the beta cell, which that's surrounded with a capillary. This I am drawing the capillary. Whenever the viral attack will occur, it is the environmental factor. When invade into the insulin producing beta cell, and it is the endogenous danger. The endogenous danger will release due to the release of the interferon alpha. Interferon alpha will bind with the macrophage, for it is the chemotactic movement for the macrophage, and interferon gamma will bind with the interferon receptor toward the beta cell, will lead to produce the tumor necrosis factor kappa B, and will lead to pro-apoptotic tumor necrotic kappa B. And in this way, tumor necrosis factor also produce that recruit the T helper CD4 cell, and the inflammatory microenvironment will create. This is the CD8 T cell recruitment also, and CD4 recruitment. This will activate the B cell. The B cell is responsible for the production of autoantibodies. The B cell will recognize the antigen itself of the beta cell like insulin receptor and inside the insulin vesicle or other things. The autoantibodies when produced will target to the beta cell where it is regard according to the immunoglobulin response. Like the autoantibody will target to the receptor, channel and vesicle inside. So in this way, the cytokines also produce endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondrial stress, produce reactive oxygen species and new gas, new eggs. Sorry. In this way, basically the anti-inflammatory path way is interleukin 10, 4 and beta. But in this way it will be inhibit. So basically you can see cytokines will produce interleukin beta and interferon gamma. This is will inhibit the channel of the beta cell. But on the other hand, the around islet of Langerhans, possibly CD20 B cell and CD4 T cells and CD68 macrophage is shown during the analysis of the type 1 diabetes. I hope you make sense about this. We have discussed about the pathophysiology stages and the causes. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video for this and bye. Subscribe now.